And finally, following the recommendations for activities that day to stay healthy. So more details about those steps. You can purchase flags or also inquire about receiving a free set of flags. So a set of flags costs approximately $100, but currently we actually have a Air Quality Flag Program Fall Challenge, and we're accepting applications until October 29th to receive free flags. And in this presentation platform, there's applications for that program. There's one in PDF and one in a Word document. They're both the same, but we definitely are excited for new folks to join. So far, we've had 5 new people sign up for organizations, and 4 of them are tribal nations. So we're really excited about that, and we would love for you all to consider joining as well. So some steps about how to participate in this challenge and receive a free set of flags. If you submit that proposal on this conference page to myself, my email's right there, by October 29th, and there's a simple registration on the EPA website. We would be excited to send you flags, and there's a variety of educational and outreach materials that come with this program that I'll be chatting more about. So we'd love to have you join the program. So the next step is to educate and inform. And there's a variety of materials available, already made, that can be customizable, including presentations, posters, morning announcements for schools or organizations, sample letters and emails, press release templates, tips for hosting events, as well as digital materials like banners, and a variety of lesson plans for students, and some great resources for schools. We also have the Tribal Air Quality Flag Program package, which is a customizable outreach package where you can include custom tips for improving air quality in your community specifically, as well as customizing your logo and the name of your tribal community. These are some examples of some of the free outreach materials, lesson plans, posters, bookmarks, curriculum, and some really attractive digital materials and that can be included on your website or printed out. One of our most popular resources is a picture book for kids from ages 4 through 8 called Why is Cocoa Orange? And it's about a chameleon who changes colors according to the air quality index. And it's available in print that you can order for free in both English and Spanish. There's also some really great videos, cartoons about or of this program. And it's especially useful to communicate about air quality and especially of the effects for children who have asthma. And I'm currently on a team working on a sequel to this book called Why is Cocoa Red? That focuses on the effects of wildfire smoke and communicating that and helping kids understand what's happening when we have these large fires and there's smoke in the air. So you can contact me to order these publications. We also have our National Service Center for Environmental Publications where you can order free of charge as well. There's the link there. So we're going to chat more about this later with Ryder's presentation about the Air Sensor Lending Program. But along with the lending program, there's some great curriculum and resources for students to use these air quality monitors in their communities and in their schools. And we have curriculum to use a variety of different air quality monitors, including the Air Mapper. And they have lesson plans from grades 3rd through 8th grade. There's also educational resources about building your own particle sensor kit to learn more about particulate matter and how we can protect ourselves from these pollutants. And it's a hands-on activity that students can create an air sensor monitor in less than an hour, and a really fun activity, especially for high school kids and those learning about engineering or coding. We also have a lesson plan about using vegetative barriers to improve air quality. So vegetative barriers, including trees and bushes, can help reduce pollution in roads and your highways. And this is part of a lesson plan that focuses on air quality and air sensors, air pollution, and the impact of air pollution on human health. Additionally, on EPA's website, there's a variety of lesson plans, teacher guides, and online environmental resources for educators. And it's ranging from topics including air quality, but also water quality, and learning about EPA's programs like Superfund. So some really helpful resources for environmental education there. So the second step was educating, but onto the third step of the air quality flag program is checking the air quality forecast. So a few ways you can do that. You can download the free Air Now app, which you just put in your area code and it gives you the current forecast. There's also our widget, which is pictured on this slide there, which you can easily implement on your website. And lastly, you can subscribe to EnviroFlash, which makes it so you don't have to search for the air quality conditions. You can join this listserv and receive the updates automatically. Helpful. And finally, the fourth step of the air quality flag program is outdoor activity guidance. So EPA has this document with guidance according to each stage of the air quality index. So if the forecast is green, it's a great day to go outside, and ranging all the way to purple when it's best to stay inside or reschedule. And there's posters and flyers about these guidances, which is helpful. Additionally, there's an air quality flag program newsletter that provides updates about the program, and we're constantly updating it and trying to provide as many helpful outreach tools for communities and participants as possible. And the flag program website has some helpful resources in both English and Spanish. It's also where you register for the air quality flag program. And once you join, there's a helpful coordinator's handbook, as well as a story map and learning about other participating organizations throughout the nation. So a little bit about EPA's other environmental education programs, including our grants program and youth and teacher award programs. So EPA's environmental education grant programs supports a variety of environmental education projects throughout the country. And each year, every region, including Region 9, awards 3 to 4 grants that range between $50,000 to $100,000. And organizations that are eligible include education agencies, state and environmental agencies, tribal agencies, colleges and universities, and nonprofits. So this application period is actually open now, and we're accepting applications till December 6th. So if you have any questions about this opportunity, please feel free to contact me. We also have a few webinars coming up about tips and resources for applying for this grant. We also have our awards program, including our teacher awards program, also known as the Presidential Innovation Award for Environmental Educators. And this program recognizes outstanding kindergarten through 12th grade teachers who use environmental education as a context for learning for their students. And there's a financial award to support the teacher's professional development, as well as supporting environmental education programs for their students. So if you know of any great teachers that are doing environmental education, please encourage them to apply. This competition will open in mid-November of 2021 and close in February 2022. Additionally, we have our Youth Award program, also known as the President's Environmental Youth Award. And this application will also open in mid-November. This program recognizes youth around the nation, kindergarten through 12th grade, who are promoting environmental protection and environmental stewardship. And this includes both individual youth, school classes, summer camps, and youth organizations. So each year, every region, including Region 9, awards 2 youth awards, one for grades K through 5, and another award for grades 6 through 12. So if you know any environmentalist youth who are doing work to protect the environment and their communities, please encourage them to apply for this. And finally, here's some helpful resources about some of the topics we covered. And now I'll pass it over to Mansel Nelson.
Thanks, Eileen. Next slide, please. So my introduction, I work with the Institute for Tribal Environmental Professionals. I'm the program manager for the Environmental Education Outreach Program. And I'm pleased today to co-present with Eileen, one of our partners. We partner with all of the regions that have tribes to work with tribes on environmental education. Next slide, please. Just a quick overview of our mission for EEOP. We're working to apply basically the STEM areas to the local issues that help both students, teachers, and community members to address concerns in their communities. Next slide, please. So we've been working, one of the projects we're doing is working with Region 10 partners on a tribal air sensor loan program. Ryder in Region 9 has also been working on a program specific for Region 9. And you can see we've been working with Nez Perce and Heritage College. And there's the website with more information about this particular program. Next slide, please. ITEP has been doing a Purple Air Network. Just before the pandemic started, I was working on this, and we got quite a few Purple Airs deployed in Alaska. I had an intern working with the University of Alaska Fairbanks to start a Purple Air Network, but we want to expand it throughout tribes in Region 9. If you look at a Purple Air map, you'll see that there's already hundreds, if not thousands, of Purple Airs operating in California in particular. They became very popular during wildfire events. And through this network, we hope to increase awareness of air quality to students, K through 12. Of course, the focus, since we're using the Purple Air device, is on particulate matter. And we have lesson plans and presentations available. And in fact, the link at the bottom of the slide, which will be available as a download item, has access to those lesson plans and other materials. Next slide, please. So most of you probably don't need a review, but just in case, because I know that this is a multimedia conference, so we may have folks from other areas. But this is an example of a slide that is available in the PowerPoint that is provided at the download site. And I thought it was a good one also to remind us about what PM is, which it's about a size of a particle. And so we have PM 2.5 and PM 10 that are currently being monitored by EPA. Next slide, please. As part of the curriculum kit, there's also guides for activities. This particular one is a data sheet that students can incorporate. This one is designed for elementary school, and we can scale this up or down depending on age levels. Next slide, please. And just some pictures of the different sensors that we're using in the Citizen Science Project. I actually do a lot of work on indoor quality, both in schools and homes. And so I'm very interested in what's going on inside, as well as what's going on outside. So there's 2 purple air devices that can help with inside and outside measurements. For example, during a wildfire event, it can be particularly helpful while monitoring the outdoors to figure out how that's impacting indoors. And so by using both devices, it gives you an idea of what's happening to your community. There's also a mobile device, and of course, there's many mobile devices. If you go to the EPA sensor toolkit, you'll see a wide variety of these devices. But I like this particular mobile device because of its cost, and it seems to work fairly well. I've been testing one for the last few months, and we're also conducting a raffle today. So to participate in the raffle, we need you to enter your name, organization, and email, and I will capture those, and then we'll notify everyone who won the raffle today. So again, your name, organization, and email, so that we can raffle off a wind tracker. I'll contact you, the winner, and get an address, and I'll let the rest of you know what happened. And I see that Christy Sangster Begay says she's interested in the purple air. And hi, Christy. She's a former NEU student. And I'd be happy to talk to you. I've worked with San Carlos Community College to Tribal College. They've got a sensor going there, but we'd be happy to work with you to get some sensors going in some of the other schools. Next slide, please. So we're also partnering with University of Montana on a more extensive program. This one is also a community science program, but it's really targeting high school and middle school and is research based. So it's still an introduction to air quality, but the focus of it is really a research methods design. And of course, also encouraging the students to learn about the impacts of air quality on health. So the link at the bottom is the University of Montana website. It's a partnership, and they have staff that are doing the training, and we're helping as a partner to identify tribal schools that might be interested in participating in this. So the training cycle is an annual cycle, but we can get you started anytime if you contact me. So next slide, please. And I see some of you are putting in your emails, so I'll capture those in a few minutes. This is just an example of basically a guideline for conducting research. The nice thing about it is the students do get to be creative and develop their own research questions, but there's a structure for both teachers and students to help you guide you through a research process. So this helps us be a little more successful and help the teachers that may not have the background in doing research. So hopefully it'll increase your comfort level with actually working with your students on research. But the staff, both at University of Montana and at ITEP, are available to help mentor you and the students on their projects. Next slide, please. So just a little bit more on the REACH program. Again, this is the partnership with the University of Montana. It is a citizen science project. We encourage science communication. We encourage the students to share the information that they're gathering with others, whether it be fellow students or the community. Perhaps it could be a presentation for the school board. As I mentioned, we have scientists both at ITEP and at University of Montana that can help with student mentoring, as well as college students that can help with mentoring the high school or middle school students. And we have support for the teachers, including the instruments, the sensors. Next slide, please. So some of the sensors that we're using for this project, again, the purple air that I've already introduced. We also have some consumer level low-cost sensors. These are probably most appropriate, the two in the middle, for homes, although they can certainly work in any indoor environment, school or whatever. And then the other two, I already mentioned the tracker. And if you're interested in entering a raffle for the tracker, you need to put your name, organization, and email in the chat. And then there's the Airbeam 2, which is another mobile device that is being used by some of the regional loan programs, Region 5 and 9 specifically. But these devices will be available if you're participating in the REACH program. And I particularly like to encourage tribal environmental staff to partner with a teacher to implement this kind of work, because then the students can be contributing to the knowledge base of the community. And by working with the tribal environmental staff, become more aware of career opportunities in tribal environmental air quality world. Next slide, please. So there's my contact information. I welcome you to contact me. Email is probably the best way to get a hold of me, but you can also send texts, and we can talk about opportunities for engaging with schools and students on learning more about air quality, and then even contributing to the knowledge of the community about air quality by using these low-cost sensors. So with that, I'll turn it over hopefully to Ryder to talk about Region 9. She's having difficulties with her microphone earlier. Ryder? I heard a tone. I hope that's a good sign.
Yeah, Ryder is not able to access her microphone. Mansel and I can explain the Los Angeles Public Library Air Quality Loan Program. So it seems like maybe there's still technical issues. So we could go ahead and get started. And if Ryder's able to join, she could jump in. So this is a program through EPA that has been implemented in the last few years in Los Angeles County, collaborating with public libraries. So it's one of the largest library systems in the United States, and it's a program called Neighborhood Science, which they've implemented a loan program for equipment to monitor air quality. And it It has started in Region 9, but it's a good example of programs that can be implemented in other areas too. And it also involves engaging with students and communities that corresponds with some helpful curriculum and activities. And if Mansel, if you have anything to add at any time, please jump in.
Yeah, I would just say that Nez Perce tribe also did a library program. Of course, theirs was very different as far as scale because they're working in a very rural area. But just letting you know that these kinds of programs can work in different regions and different areas, and both urban and more rural.
Great. And EPA also helped facilitate a library training about how to use the air quality sensor. And they used a sensor called the Airbeam 2. So there was some helpful training available and ideas how to implement this with their communities, and especially, I believe, collaborating with teachers has been a great point, especially with that corresponding curriculum. Again, anytime you have anything to add, Mansel, please jump in. So the first step would be to set up the Airbeam 2, which corresponds with your smartphone, and checking to make sure the serials numbers match. So, oh, it looks like it's actually a smartphone that is part of the materials. And checking the box set, making sure the accessories are included. So these would be available to check out through the Los Angeles public libraries. And this is a program that EPA is hoping to expand. So it's definitely something you can inquire of learning more about. So one of the activities and lesson plans that is included is what is in the outside air. So learning about particulate matter sources and air quality outdoors. So this would be especially interesting to measure the air quality near a road or some kind of factory versus in a park, and noticing those differences and learning about how PM exposure varies in different areas, and learning about ways to reduce exposure to PM. So that correlates to the activity we mentioned earlier about pollution near roadways.
And I would add that the purple air is basically intended to be a stationary monitor, and so that might be continuously monitoring at a school location. With the mobile devices like the tracker or the Airbeam, students can actually move that around to different areas that they might be interested in. And of course, in this activity, they're learning about outdoor air, but they can also explore how the outdoor air impacts on the indoor air.
Great. And yeah, here's an example activity sheet that students could fill out and learn about as they're using the portable devices and able to walk around their community and learn and make observations. So it's a great inquiry-based hands-on activities for students. And they consider what factors they think are important in measuring particulate matter. Great, and yeah, there's also neighborhood science kits. So some opportunities to learn about local environments and beyond just air, monitoring things like water quality and exploring biodiversity and really making some observations about local environments. So more information about how to monitor and collect air quality data. So there's some helpful citizen science opportunities.
Yeah, a project that actually someone here in Flagstaff proposed to me was looking at the drop-off point at a school. So you typically have buses and vehicles coming in to drop off kids in the morning and pick them up in the afternoon. And oftentimes there'll be wait times. So this gives an ideal opportunity for students to learn about how traffic can impact neighborhood air quality. And then in the case of the project that I'm working on here in Flagstaff, they hope to then have the students take action on what kind of things can be done to maybe protect the building and to reduce air quality problems in the neighborhood.
Great, and there's also instructional videos and resources about how to utilize the equipment. Great, so this is another example of air quality sensor program that focuses on students grades 6 through 12, and yeah, learning how to use these materials. So yeah, if you have more questions about this program, Ryder is a great resource and was directly involved in the implementation of this Los Angeles program, and hopefully is a program that continues to be replicated in other areas. So there's also some programs in partnering with libraries to provide access to home radon monitoring. And Ryder works directly with radon and outreach around radon monitoring. So another important environmental health issue to consider. Here's some air sensor resources. So EPA's Air Sensor Toolbox has some great educational resources, including some of the ones that I mentioned earlier, with creating your own homemade air quality particulate matter sensor, as well as curriculum for using the air sensors. The South Coast Air Quality Management District has some great trainings and guidebooks on air quality sensors as well.
And Ryder's also put that information in the chat, so you can copy and paste that link. Very useful link if you're wanting to find educational resources for sensors. And Ryder's also mentioned that there's several regions involved in these programs. Region 9, 10, and 5 are some of the regions I've worked with. If you find these kind of programs helpful, the funding ultimately came from headquarters, distributed to the regions, and each of them basically took a little different approach on how to implement them. But of course, as environmental educators, we would welcome more involvement and engagement. So if you find these resources helpful and useful, reach out to us, reach out to the headquarters, let them know that you appreciate these kind of projects.
Great, and yeah, here's our contact information. You're more than welcome to contact any of us with more questions or inquiries about any of these programs. And yeah, environmental education is a very important component of environmental work to encourage informed and responsible decision making. So again, please put your information, your name and email and organization in the chat box if you're interested in joining the raffle to receive a free air quality sensor. But we also have an opportunity if you have any questions. We'd love to hear from you. But thank you again for joining.
So I think I captured everybody that put in their email. I'll put your names in a hat and pull one, and I'll let everybody know that they didn't get it. And then, of course, the one who did get it, I'll get a mailing address from you so that I can mail it to you, and encourage you to check out this technology. I've been involved in air quality education for over 20 years, and I'm really excited that we now have these low-cost sensors that really allow us to explore what's going on in our environment, and of course increase the awareness of students. And even in my own situation, where I've been using sensors for um, over 15 years with these consumer sensors, I installed one in my own house. In fact, you can see it if you can see my camera over my left shoulder. That's a wind halo. And right now it's telling me that I'm in a well ventilated space with low PM, which is really important to me as a person with asthma. And so I'm able to track my air quality in my home, and I'm encouraging others, for example, in classrooms and other situations, to monitor air and increase our awareness of air quality. And then, of course, as we teach through environmental education, taking action once we have a better understanding, um, taking action to improve our air quality. So we welcome your questions and comments. If anybody else has either thoughts about conducting environmental education or questions. And Ralph, I see you finally gave me your email, and could you check it again? It looks different than email I already got for you, but maybe you've changed it.
Just as another note, if anyone's interested in our EPA environmental education grants, which are currently open for applications, yesterday I gave a presentation with Brian Davidson from the Intertribal Council of Arizona. So that presentation is recorded and has some in-depth information about applying for that grant. And Brian shared about his experience receiving the EPA Environmental Education Grant and how he implemented that, and some tips. He implemented it during the pandemic, so there was some challenges, but it was still possible. And there's some great projects that have been funded over the years, and we definitely encourage tribal organizations to apply.
And Janice asked what kind of air monitor I'm using in my home. I actually have several, because I'm basically testing out different technologies and, learning pluses and minuses. And I'm actually, in a former life, before I became an educator, I was a detection engineer many decades ago. So I'm really curious about these technologies. So this one's called an Air Thing. That I'm holding up in front of my face here. This one also monitors radon, which I found interesting, but it has a limitation that I don't particularly care for. You'll notice that it's saying that my air is red, which makes it sound like it's pretty bad. But their algorithm uses relative humidity in the air quality equation. And of course, relative humidity does impact our health. It impacts people, particularly with asthma or other respiratory conditions. But I just don't like the way the algorithm includes it and tells me that my air quality is red. Here in Arizona, it's pretty hard for me to get high humidity except during our monsoon season. So anyway, and then I have the wind halo behind me. I've also got the wind tracker. I'm using a Dylos as well. So I'm exploring the different options, and I'll be getting an Airbeam as well, because that seems popular in several areas. And I have some purple airs. So I'm exploring all the different options. And of course, like I mentioned, for I guess it was in the last presentation about radon. Depends on what application you are doing as to which one might be the best fit for you. And just a quick example, the Halo requires a Wi-Fi connection, which works okay in my house, but might not work well in other houses. The Air Thing uses a Bluetooth to a phone. So, but like I explained, it has a different algorithm that I personally don't like the way it's operating. So I might be inclined to look at others. And somebody, Mercedes, thank you for your question. The best indoor air purifier for home and individual rooms. Wow. Um, I guess you should have come to our last presentation that we did. We spent an hour talking about that. The quick answer is Mercedes, if you are looking for a particular solution for a situation in your community, please email me and we can have a discussion. There's a lot of resources. Ryder just put in the resource for EPA. And of course, right now with the pandemic, there's been a lot of vendors trying to sell what I would call unproven technologies. So you want to be very careful about choices. And the quick answer is HEPA works. HEPA, HEPA, is a well-established technology. It works well. And some of these others, they're ionizing, ozonating, etc. Those applications are, in my mind, still questionable and unproven. So, but I'm happy to discuss with anybody their needs for air purification. It's a topic that has been high interest during the pandemic, and I've been going to the various webinars being done by EPA and others about air purification. So I'd be happy to discuss that with anybody who's working on that. So we still have a couple of minutes. Any other questions?
Yes, please view the three of us as a resource if questions do come up later. And again, this presentation was recorded, and the presentation that Mansel just referenced that gives more information about various filters and air cleansers has also been recorded. I believe it was called Indoor Air for Schools, but would also be applicable for other facilities. Yeah, thank you again for joining today, and hopefully we'll be in person next year, get to meet in person.
Yeah, I for one would definitely appreciate opportunity to meet in person. Before the pandemic, I traveled about half the time, visiting communities, working on environmental education projects and citizen science projects, and of course the pandemic's been very limiting. So look forward to working with you, and I love coming to your community to do a combination of maybe training for tribal staff and then opportunities to work with teachers and students in your community. So keep that in mind as we're able to return to travel and in person. I look forward to invitations to come visit some of your communities and to work with you directly.
Great, well, I see it's 11:50 now, so yeah, thank you again for joining, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Hmm.